Hi, I'm Katie. Today we're going to go over the World Changers curriculum from My Father's World. We just finished using this curriculum for the 2024-2025 school year. So technically the first year that it was released, and we loved it. I am going to tell you what we loved, what I would change if we could do it again, and I'll break down each subject and how we used it in our homeschool. So what's included in the package, how we used it, and how it went in our home. So let me tell you a little bit about me first. I am a homeschooling mom of 5 kids. I have 4 daughters and 1 son, and last year they were in third, first, pre-K 4, pre-K 2, 3, and then the baby was born halfway through the school year in January. And we used this mainly for my third grader, but my first grader tagged along for a lot of the activities, as did the 2 preschoolers. We used World Changers as our main curriculum, but we have used a variety of curriculum throughout the years. We started off using mainly Montessori style homeschooling when my oldest was just a toddler, and continued that. We still use a lot of Montessori principles in our home. But we did classical conversations, we did more classical style homeschooling embedded in all of that. And we found My Father's World with their first grade curriculum. And then we also used their Adventures in US History curriculum for second grade, and then this World Changers curriculum for third grade. Now, I've always kind of mixed and matched and added my own stuff in. I also write Montessori Christian homeschool curriculum for children ages 1, and the latest curriculum I have goes up till about age 7. And I write hands-on Bible devotionals as well. So that is I will continue that until the Lord calls me and to stop or to my next project. But I love curriculum. I love doing Charlotte Mason and classical and Montessori and unit study and all of the things. So we just have really enjoyed homeschooling, and I love learning and I love diving into new things. So that's a little bit more about me. We also used World Changers in a synergy group this year, which is basically a scripted co-op that you can do with World Changers, and those guides are available for free from My Father's World on their website. And so we used it and it went really, really well. We also did that for Adventures in US History, and this next school year we're going to do Exploring Countries and Cultures. So come along with me as we dive into the curriculum and I show you all of the goodness that is World Changers by My Father's World. Let's start off with the teacher guide. The teacher guide, just like all of the other teacher guides that My Father's World publishes, is your spine for your curriculum. So as you'll see when you open it up, this can be used for second, third, or fourth graders. I don't see why it couldn't be used for a much older child as well, as long as you add in your extra writing assignments or on-level individual subjects like math and reading. So this is a full curriculum for Bible, history, science, read alouds, art, and music. And we used the entire package. Here is what the spread looks like in the teacher guide. In the beginning, you'll have some pages telling you how to use every component of the curriculum. But then for every week, you're going to get a grid like this. So it's basically like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This is week 5, the person or time period you're studying, and the science topic that you're studying up at the top. And then this first column here tells you the subjects. So this first row is Bible, then language arts, history, math, reading, music, art, science, foreign language, and read aloud. If it says C notes or has a double asterisk, C notes, you would just keep going and look at the notes for that particular topic. This says make a 3-leaf clover, 2 asterisks, and C notes. So the 2 asterisks means you have a student sheet. So every curriculum comes with a set of student sheets, and you'll need one for each child doing the curriculum, 1 set, but only 1 teacher guide. And then the C notes, you would go, so this is happening in the third column. So you would go to Wednesday, and you would look for, it says make a 3-leaf clover. And here are notes to tell you what to do, what to say, where to go, what. And it is very easy to use once you get used to it. And so all of the information you need for week 5 follows week 5, and then it starts week 6. And you'll also see memory verses to review, materials you'll need for the week, and all of that. So this is great. So Bible, language arts, history, math, reading, music, art, science, foreign language, and read aloud are all scheduled here. For language arts, math, and reading, as well as foreign language, you choose your own curriculum for your students, whatever works best for them. My Father's World does make suggestions. They use Dimensions Math. They use Spelling Power. They use a specific handwriting book. And for the older grades, they do recommend like Rosetta Stone or something like that first for speaking and learning a foreign language. There are reading, on-grade reading suggestions in the back of the book as well for general reading. And they also do have tons of book basket suggestions that go along with your history study this year. Those are books you can order separately or get from your library, but they do not come in the package. So let's start by telling you a little bit more about World Changers. So World Changers is a year-long unit study where you do an overview of world history. You learn about 32 people throughout the world who have made a difference, or throughout the history, who have made a difference for God's glory. So back in ancient times, we learn about Joseph, and then as we move through history, and the history spine is also included in your teacher manual, so you'll read from this and have the children narrate and make some notebook pages. But as you are in a specific time period, you'll learn about some world changers in that time period. So it's broken up kind of like before Jesus, and then like years 1 to 500, 500 to 1500, I think, 1500 to 1900, and then 1900 to modern times, something like that. So it's broken up into chunks, and then the people that you learn about inside of those time periods, you read about them, and then the children narrate back and write summaries and put those people on a timeline. So that's for history. So for Bible, you're doing a nature study, devotional, which is great, and also nature study with science, and you're also doing physical science this year. So hands-on, getting the kids excited about science and putting things together and seeing how things work in the kitchen. So chemistry in the kitchen chemistry, I think is the name of the book, and also physics. So building things and constructing gadgets, as well as STEM. So that's science. The read alouds also are chapter books that correspond to the time period, and the children will be, you're reading aloud to them during that. And then art is a drawing, and music is the recorder. We had so much fun. Now I'm going to go through and look at the books for each and the materials for each subject and tell you guys what's included, kind of give you an overview of what that was like, as well as what I would do differently if I had the opportunity to do this again. Okay, for Bible, we used these 2 books. The Bible itself, and God is in Nature, a kid's devotional about his awesome creations. And this is scheduled about 3 days a week. It is very short. So there'll be a scripture verse, a short, very applicable devotional to me and to my children, little and middles, and the oldest ones, a short prayer, and then a fun activity. So what I would do is, after we read the devotional, so like this one says, God's ocean reach. So it's Psalm 139, 9 and 10. So then we practiced with my first grader and third grader out of the NIRV that My Father's World recommends. It's called the New International Readers Version Discoverer's Bible, a large print Bible for early readers, and it's written at about a third grade level. But my first grader, who's a pretty strong reader, was able to read out of this Bible as well. So they practiced, as suggested in the manual, looking up the verse and reading it from here as well. So it'd be a little bit different because this was usually NIV. This is NIRV. But that was really great practice. And it was just such a short and sweet way to start our time together. But What I wish I had done better is that every time there is a devotional, there's like a go explore or a prompt to go learn more. But it basically sparks an idea that you can do after the devotional. So I would write them down kind of at the end, where like usually on Fridays, I don't know if it's every week, but they're suggested to do a nature walk on Fridays, very like Charlotte Mason inspired, which is great. But I wish I had every afternoon that we had this, that I would block out time that same afternoon and go do that nature prompt, whether it was going to collect dead sticks or go look at the stars at night, or take a walk in the rain with an umbrella, going on a walk through nature without a path. Just really simple things, but how it can relate back to God and his nature that he created for us. So God is revealed through scripture, yes, but also in nature. And so I want kids to see God in nature, and that is exactly the goal of this devotional. So I would highly recommend reading this. It's very simple, but don't keep it that way. Do what's in here. Look up the Bible verse. Make it a more thorough Bible study if you want it to be more thorough. I've heard people say that this is simple, but like simple is so good. Simple is so profound, especially for children at this age, especially for me. We also participated in Bible study fellowship. So we were going through the Bible separately from this as well. So if you wanted to also read through the Bible with your child or assign independent Bible reading every day, you know, you're the homeschool mom. You can add more if you want to. We also memorized 19 scripture passages and colored cards for them. So let me show you what those look like. These scripture passages were chosen to complement what we were learning in history about the people and their characteristics. So here are some cards, and we displayed them on the corkboard behind me, and I'll show a picture on the video. And we practiced them like throughout the school year. There are review verses every week already written in your teacher guide. So you can just review the ones they tell you, and it was really good for all of us. And they loved coloring these. If I could do this again, I would also have my children copy them in their best handwriting and keep them in their notebook. Kind of like how we did for adventures in US history, the second grade curriculum, and the first grade curriculum. So I would definitely have them do that again. Although I do love the cards, I think that extra practice writing it out and extra practice for handwriting would be great. So, all right, let's move on to history. For history, you got the official guide to the Marvelous Museum of Salt and Light, which is their history biography spine. You also have your teacher's manual, which has excerpts that you read directly from the teacher's guide. This one that I just randomly opened to is the Renaissance artists. Read the following aloud to the students and have them narrate. So you'll get an overview of history in the teacher's manual. And as you go through that overview, you'll be reading biographies, and the children will be narrating back to you. You also get a world map for your wall to locate all of these places and where these people lived. And then you get timeline cards for what the different time periods, as well as the different people that you study. And you can put these on your wall. I made this accordion timeline, which I saw somebody make one similar to this and couldn't find the original file. So I just made one, and it's beautiful. If I find the link to the person who originally came up with that, I will put it below. But this was we would just like fold this all the way out down the hallway and look at it. One day I do want it on the wall, but for now it's in the accordion style. And then you do get student sheets, as you do with all of the curriculum from My Father's World, to make and in this case this year was a history notebook. So there are different activities for each of the time periods. So you'd have like this notebook page says ancient history, creation to 1 BC, and you read all of these different excerpts and trace to where everything was happening. So this is what was happening in Egypt. The pyramids were built in Persia. The Persians were building roads, etc. The Great Wall of China, and it's pointing to China. Israel, Jesus. So anyway, this was really, really great for me. I don't have a great grasp on history. I never enjoyed it as a student. So now that I get to homeschool my kids, I realize how important history actually is. And I love it because as I've grown in my faith too, I see, God's hand in history and it's just really exciting. So for me, I really appreciated the overview of history at a third grade level so that when we move on, I have that solid foundation. So I can't imagine how this is not going to be so great for your kids before they start that family cycle that My Father's World offers for like 4th through 8th grade. So that was history. Oh, they do their summaries of each person as well. So here was Albrecht Dürer. Can't really say that name, but there are other things for each person too besides the memories. So there's different activities, like some pages, some other things to learn about as you learn about the people. So next we're going to talk about science. For science this year, you're doing physical science, experiments, hands-on stuff, and STEM with the plus blocks and some other things that you do. So here is kitchen chemistry and the inventors workshop. These are just really fun, easy to read, easy to do experiments, stuff you can make, and things and people and principles that you can explore in physics. Do not skip this. So much fun. The kids are really just learning how to get excited about creating things, inventing things, and how God's world works. So same thing with kitchen chemistry. Understanding that when I combine these things, something changes, something happens, it looks different, it smells different, it bubbles, it heats, it dissolves, it all changes color. Really fun. So your kids will be learning. So as much as they may not completely understand or grasp the concepts of chemistry and physics at this level, it's really just about exploration and giving them a hunger to know more about God's world, because it just starts off as play, right? And this is really fun. If I could do something different, I would do 2 things. I would do every experiment. I wouldn't skip. So even if we had to wait until the afternoon to do these, because we had so much fun every time we did it. I would take more pictures of us doing this because we didn't make notebook pages or talk about the scientific method much. It was really about exploration and fun this year, but I would have taken more pictures so that we could maybe include those in our notebook. And I would have ordered a kit for Inventors Workshop. You can't order one for kitchen chemistry because it's really just things that you have in your pantry, and there are materials lists that you have access to in your teacher guide so you can prepare ahead. But for Inventors Workshop, I found a mom that makes kits of everything bagged up and labeled with the day you're going to need it, the week you're going to need it, what's included. And so you can just grab the bag and grab the Inventors Workshop and do the thing, and it's so quick. So I will put her link below. She does other years of My Father's World too, so she is definitely worth checking out. That was such a blessing, but we didn't order it till the end of the year. And then I was like thinking, oh, this summer we'll do it. We didn't do it. So maybe if I ever get the opportunity to do World Changers again, I'll have it ready to go, or we can do it another time. So the last thing included for science are these plus blocks for STEM. We had so much fun with these. The children can follow these 3-dimensional instructions, and you kind of introduce them slowly. These were great if you're reading aloud. The children can build things. They got really good about following the directions and building in the order that it tells you to build in. And at Christmas time, I surprised them with like an advent calendar of plus blocks. And that was really fun. That's when they got really into it. So anytime I've taken these out since, they've loved them. Even my 3-year-old, who was 2 the first half of the year, loved these. And they make a larger size too if you have really little ones. So those were great. Next, we have read alouds. This year came with 5 read alouds, going in like that chronological historical order. So little Miriam of Galilee, a dishonest tax collector and a poor wheat harvest mean Miriam's family could lose their home. But God helps in a way they hadn't expected. So this was so great because it was about a little girl who, a fictional story, but a little girl who was alive during the time that Jesus came as Messiah, and how that directly affected her life and the life of those around her, including tax collectors and farmers and ordinary people. That was very good, a very easy read, but it was really intriguing. My children loved it. Little Pilgrim's Progress from John Bunyan's classic by Helen L. Taylor. So this was written more than 60 years ago. She adapted John Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress for children. And I was thinking this would not be as good as the original Pilgrim's Progress, and not as exciting. And that is so not true. My children loved it, understood it shockingly. They acted out the parts. They talked about it when we weren't reading it, and they loved it. So highly recommend that. And that really added to our biblical studies, both of those books. 5 Tales by Hans Christian Andersen. My Father's World publishes this. And this includes The Real Princess, The Pen and the Inkwell, The Pea Blossom, The Flax, and The Ugly Duckling. So great. The Story of Pollyanna. My Father's World adapted this a little bit, and I love their version. This was just, it was so great to read. This was so good. So read the book, read my Father's World version if you have the opportunity. It really teaches your kids how to be positive in every situation and just share the love of God with others by seeing the bright side. And so it's cool. So The Mills Family of Entrepreneurs, Discovering Business and Honoring God Through It, was the last book assigned. So this is like a modern read, and it was really good. We have actually not finished it because we were going through slowly and coming up with business ideas and really thinking through the questions. I asked my daughter, because we took a break from it this summer, if she wanted to finish it at the start of the school year, even though we're starting a new curriculum, and she said absolutely yes. And I think it's so great to get the kids when they're young thinking about what you do with your life and the money that you make can honor God. How can it? What could you do with the gifts God has given you? How does God want you to steward your finances and build something, create something that honors God? So it comes with discussion questions, and you can really use it in a practical way if you have a child old enough, and create a mock business or even a real business as you read through the book and the principles in that book. So those were the read alouds. So lastly, we have art and recorder. For art, they chose this year the Drawing Textbook by Bruce McIntyre. This is a handy little book that we learned a lot from. It was really easy to teach. It looks really simple and maybe confusing because it is so simple, but when you work through the drawings in order, you really learn step by step in really simple instructions how to draw in the manner that he shows. There's a lot of shading and perspective, like making things look three-dimensional, and it's really fun. All of my kids really actually enjoyed it a lot, even down to the 4-year-old. My Father's World publishes this I Can Draw, and I got one for myself and my 3 older children, but I ended up giving mine to my 3-year-old because she would want to do it too. But basically, you 3 times throughout the week, you show the child how to do it on like a scratch paper, and then they get to draw it in this little box. And throughout the week, the idea is they get better at doing it, and they can do it more independently without you helping them and reading the instructions to them. And then the drawings get more complicated, more detailed. And obviously, we did not do it every week. If I could do this again for art, I would definitely not miss any of the art, because it does not take long. So you look at art and you think, oh, it's going to take so long. 5-10 minutes and you're done. And it's not frustrating because it is small and short. And then you say, oh, you think that you didn't do that great? Let's try again next time. That's why there are boxes there to improve. So I love the method. I love that. I did find a YouTube channel that shows I haven't really reviewed it, but I will put the link if you're interested in, like, if this is really confusing and you can't, figure out how to tell your child to do it. Somebody else did that, and there's a YouTube channel. So I haven't reviewed it, but I'll put it there if you guys want to check it out for yourselves. Lastly, we have the recorder. I was really excited about this, but also didn't really know what to expect. Two of my kids took off with the recorder. It was awesome. And the 3-year-old and 5-year-old, well, she was 5 at the end of the year and 3 at the end of the year, learned how to hold their fingers a little bit or blow on it and play or try to make it sound like a song. Where my oldest child, I'll try to insert a video clip if I can figure out how to do that. Playing some of the songs that she learned. We did a synergy group this year, as I think I've mentioned a couple of times, where we met with 2 other families, and there were 11 kids total. And then when I had my baby, 12 kids. And so we would do recorder every week, and we would just keep it simple, learning how to hold your fingers, learning how to read a couple notes, how to play a couple notes. And then the kids who were able to would learn just some simple songs. So they learned Jolly Old St. Nicholas, a lot of them, for Christmas time, and that was fun. And then toward the end of the year, they all learned Chicka-Lolly-Lo, which I think is number 63 in this recorder classroom method book. And it just, they loved it. So I think we are going to continue to improve on our recorder skills for music. I have been meaning to get my older 2 into music lessons, into piano lessons, and I just haven't yet. So we'll continue there while we have it. And it is a very inexpensive way to learn music notes and to play. So that was really fun. But the little ones will have trouble holding their fingers in the right places. So just either put it aside for a while or keep it really, really simple until they are personally ready to move forward. So if I could do it again, I would do recorder again, and I wouldn't skip the art. Basically, anything that we did, I just wish I kind of did better. So instead of oh, okay, well, we'll put that aside, or we didn't get to that. Everything was so rich and enriching that I kind of wish I gave it a little bit more attention instead of getting sidetracked or switching math curriculums or, well, I did have a baby, so, you can't really avoid the setback from that, but he's such a joy. So he's totally worth it. But we really loved My Father's World Changers, and we are going to continue to use My Father's World curriculum. We will use Exploring Countries and Cultures next year. But before I go, 2 really fun things from My Father's World. I may even insert this at the beginning of a video. So our favorite parts of My Father's World Changers was how fun it was. In the beginning of the year, we created a time machine for our history studies. It was our first STEM project, and the children had to design and build their own time machine. And so that when we traveled back in time, we would count down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and then they would set the dials to BC or AD and whatever year we were traveling. And we would get there and look around, and it would be different. And we would talk about in our imaginations what it might have looked like. And then the other really, really fun thing was that we had a museum guide named Mrs. Periwinkle. And in the teacher guide, it tells you to dress up and leave the room and get really excited and have your children come walk with you through the museum halls and up the stairs and down the stairs and what you see around you. And they loved that. So we did this with a synergy group, and one of the moms, not me, one of the moms was Mrs. Periwinkle. And my kids got so excited on the Mrs. Periwinkle days. I think she visited 6 times. I could be wrong, but around 6 times. So it wasn't every week that you have to do Time Machine or every week that you have to do Mrs. Periwinkle, but it was so much fun. And then there's also some at the end of each week. So usually on Thursday, there'll be extra activities. So this is, for an example, we did John Glenn in week 30, and examples of the activities were learning more fun facts about NASA, design a poster, search more about NASA and John Glenn, go outside and stargaze, plan a trip to the Creation Museum in Kentucky, or visit a local planetarium, or go to the Kennedy Space Center if you're close by in Florida. So some of them were like that. Others were just easier, like using the internet or an encyclopedia to learn more about, and then they'll give you examples, or draw this, or make a notebook page, or think about chores you could do related to meal times. So that was really fun. And then the last thing I want to talk about is on Fridays every week is scheduled these Shine Your Light activities. And I wish that we had done more of the Shine Your Light activities. In the beginning of the year, the kids and I brainstormed different ways we could shine the light of Jesus that lives within us to people around us. And so maybe that's helping your little brother or sister pick up toys, or raking the leaves, or helping dad mow the lawn, or finding a local missions organization and doing lemonade stands 3 or 4 times a year to raise money for them. Anything you could think of. We did it a few times, but I kind of like let Friday drop off the schedule instead of intentionally reserving some time to do that. And I wish that I had not done that I had saved that day for Shine Your Light activities, as was the intention of the curriculum, and I think would have been really, really good for our family and our children, and obviously anybody else that would have experienced that. So we did a couple things. Like the first week or second week, the children chose to make brownies or cookies. I can't remember. I think it might have been brownies for the neighbors, and just said enjoy, and didn't really make a big deal of it, but it made them feel so good to do something completely not for themselves. So that was great. And if I could do the curriculum again, I would hold that sacred space on Fridays for the Shine Your Light activities. So we had so much fun, and I hope you guys have so much fun using this curriculum as well, if you decide to use it for your family. This, again, World Changers by My Father's World. We give it a 10 out of 10. It was great.